I told myself I wouldn't stay long. That was the lie I repeated as I drove down the familiar road. My hands calm on the steering wheel, my daughter humming softly behind me. The house looked exactly the same as always, too many lights, one hanging slightly crooked, the front window fogged from cooking. It was the kind of place meant to look warm and welcoming from the outside inside. Coats were piled everywhere. Conversations overlapped. Someone put a glass in my hand without asking. Across the room, I caught my mother's eye. She gave me that same tight, expectant smile she wore now, like she was waiting for the right moment to make her point. I hadn't left the family in a dramatic way, no fights, no ultimatums. I simply stopped coming around after every visit ended with my daughter asking why Grandma treated her differently. I stayed away longer than they expected, long enough for them to create their own version of why I disappeared. Tonight was supposed to be safe territory, just a gift exchange, something structured enough to keep everyone civil. My sisters' kids went first, their names were called with excitement, paper ripped, screens lit up. The whole room leaned in, phones were passed around, admired, discussed. My sister laughed, already explaining features and cases, clearly relieved she had done everything right. Then my daughter's name was called. She stood up when prompted, smoothing her dress with small hands. She smiled the careful smile kids use when they're being brave without knowing why. The box was light, I noticed immediately. She gave it a gentle shake, like she was afraid of breaking it. The wrapping came off too easily. The box underneath was crushed on one corner, taped along the side. She opened it and froze. Inside was a used box of crayons. The sleeve was torn, the colors dull and broken, the tips rounded down by someone else. She didn't cry. She looked at me, then back at the box, trying to figure out what the rules were. Someone laughed quietly, then my mother laughed too, not loudly, just enough. Well, she said brightly, that's what happens when your mom walks away from the family. The room didn't go silent. That would have been easier. Instead, it hesitated. A few people smiled out of habit. Someone cleared their throat. My sister didn't even look over. Too busy adjusting a phone case. I felt that old heat rise in my chest, the urge to explain, defend, list every reason I had left. I didn't. I knelt beside my daughter and helped her close the box. Thank you for opening it so carefully, I said softly. She nodded, grateful to have something clear to do again. Under the tree were the gifts I had brought, neatly wrapped, tags already written. I had spent weeks picking them out, second-guessing myself, upgrading when I could, not to compete, just to belong. I reached for them. The movement was small, but everyone noticed. Paper shifted. My mother stopped smiling. These were for them, I said, holding the stack against my chest. I surprised myself with how steady my voice was. They aren't anymore. I didn't explain. I didn't apologize. I didn't look at anyone in particular. My mother opened her mouth, ready to regain control the way she always did, with jokes sharpened just enough to hurt. She didn't get the chance. My aunt stood up. She had hosted every holiday since my grandmother passed. This was her house. Her rules usually invisible because no one ever challenged them. No, she said, one word, flat, final. The room finally fell quiet. She stepped forward, positioning herself slightly in front of me without touching me. Everyone understood the shift. We are not doing this, she said. Not tonight, not here. My mother tried to laugh it off. I was just joking. You weren't, my aunt replied calmly. And you're done. It was shocking how fast everything changed once someone with real authority named what was happening. Not as an argument, but as a fact. My aunt turned to my daughter and softened instantly. Sweetheart, come sit with me for a minute. She guided her to the couch and wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. The crayon box disappeared. Then she turned to my sister. We're pausing the gift exchange. That's not a suggestion. No one objected. My mother sat back down, her face unfamiliar without the smirk, like a mask slipping. She didn't look at me again. I kept the gifts in my arms. They felt heavier. Now not with guilt, but with certainty. I placed them by the door. The rest of the evening moved carefully. Voices stayed low. Plates were passed. Laughter happened, but cautiously, like everyone was learning new boundaries in real time. No one asked me to bring the gifts back. When it was time to leave, my aunt walked us out and squeezed my shoulder once. You didn't do anything wrong, she said, as plainly as stating the weather. Outside, the air was cold and clean. My daughter buckled herself in and stayed quiet for a few blocks. Then she asked, did I do something bad? No, I said easily. You did everything right. She nodded, accepting it with the serious trust only children have. I drove away with fewer packages than I arrived with. The house behind us glowed just as it always had from the outside. Nothing looked different. Inside me, something had settled. Not victory, not revenge, just the calm certainty that I no longer needed to earn my place by enduring what I never should have. Some doors slammed shut, others don't need to. This one stayed open but on my terms.